Alright, you guys, it is time for part 2 of the roadmap. I'm waking up, getting situated at my computer, and I see that they just posted this just shortly after 10 a.m. I had to film a video for my other channel, and it's probably going to take me a while to edit this one, as I assume it's going to be another super long roadmap. I mean, it only makes sense as they are dividing it up into 2 separate parts. But there is some stuff that's not really Train Sim World related. The game specifically that I want to share with you, I'm going to be doing a huge rebranding over on the channel. It's actually something that I meant to have already started rolling out way before Train Sim World 5 was announced, but I just got super busy with life, and now of course trying to keep up to date with all the latest news and sharing all my thoughts, that I've had to delay it a little bit. But there's going to be a whole new channel name, all new logos and graphics, and I think you guys are really going to like it. It's not ready yet, so I'm not going to share it, but in case you see the name of the channel change, it's still me. This is the absolute worst possible time to rebrand, as I honestly wanted this to happen before I started fully committing to creating content regularly. So expect that fairly soon. All right, we're jumping straight into the new features and tools. That is what part 2 of the roadmap is going to be all about today. We've gotten the routes out of the way, we've gotten the locos out of the way. I gave you guys yet another rundown, one that you did not ask for the roadmap and upcoming content, which was already showcased on the Dovetail Direct stream in the last video. So we're jumping straight into the nitty gritty. Welcome back to the Train Sim World roadmap, our chance to share with you all the exciting content we're working on at Dovetail for all of you at home. In the second part, we're exploring the brand new features we've implemented and improved coming with Train Sim World 5 in more detail, and checking in with brand new announcements from our third-party partners. When we started to compile the list of features we'd be developing, we kept players in mind, using community-requested features, data-driven surveys, and Q&A threads, and general day-to-day feedback we see across the online spaces that you've sent us to help guide what we work on. Alright, so we begin with the Conductor mode. One of the highest scoring features on our last few player surveys was the Conductor mode, also known as Guard mode, which has seen interest and appeal grow rapidly since we released this new way to play Train Sim World across a couple of scenarios on Glossop Line and Long Island Railroad Commuter. This actually comes as absolutely no surprise to me. I do remember, again, I've mentioned this so many times, JD confirming on stream to a question that I personally asked that it was one of the highest voted in the survey. And the second he said that, I was like, yeah, we're probably going to get it. And the feedback for the scenarios for Conductor mode has always been good, but now having it in service mode with the timetable, all the additional replay value has me more excited than ever. Conductor mode is back in full swing for Train Sim World 5. Using the feedback from the community to focus on improvements, we decided to make this a full experience across Train Sim World 5 routes and selected trains, whilst introducing new scoring and objectives. In a contrast to how you normally experience driving trains, players will be able to enjoy the role of a conductor, inspecting passengers' tickets, moving passengers' bags out of the walkway, and operate train doors in time with departures and arrivals. I do like the addition of moving baggage out of the way. That is very important. This happens a lot in real life, the aisles getting cluttered, so I'm happy that it's not just about talking to the people and, scanning their tickets, that there is more to do with both the bags and the doors, so you are going to stay busy. This mode will be included in all the 3 new core routes coming with Train Sim World 5. The Class 350 on West Coast Main Line, the Rodham Cars and Bombardier bi-level coaches on San Bernardino Line, and the DBBR 114 plus Dostos for Frankfurt Fulda. Once the Great Western Express remaster releases in the near future, it will also include the mode for the HST MK3s and the Class 166. Wait, so is this not included for the ICET and the Class 390 Pendolino? Maybe that's what they meant when they said only available for select locos and services, so it's not going to be for every train, unfortunately. I'm hoping I'm wrong though. It definitely makes more sense to see it on more like local, frequently stopping traffic than on longer distance regional or express trains, but it would would have been nice to have the option to do both. A key highlight of Conductor mode is that from one region to another and one loco to the next, the experience will vary. On San Bernardino, you will need to radio the driver before setting off. However, this differs when riding the Class 350 on West Coast Mainline, as they'll use 2 buzzers, and with the DB-BR114 on Frankfurt Fulda, you have a whistle instead. As the protocol in the real world, you've now got multiple ways you can experience being a conductor across these routes and trains of 5. So the experience is going to vary depending on what country you're in and what loco you're driving. And this is honestly what I expected. I didn't expect it to be the same thing across all routes, or at least I wasn't hoping for that. As these procedures differ from one country to another, setting up this feature is not as simple as enabling it across all content equally. So we've chosen the routes and locos we think players will be able to utilize most and get the best experience when playing as a conductor. As a note from launch, this won't be something that the ICET and the Pendolino will have enabled. Oh, I'm so sad. So confirmed here. Nope, it's not coming for these trains. Our team's focused on the 350 and 114 first due to the higher stopping frequency, better suiting the gameplay of Conductor mode, which is exactly what I expected. That was literally one of the first things that I mentioned, was it's probably because they're more local, frequently stopping services. So I can understand and it makes sense, though I will say it doesn't mean I'm not disappointed at the same time. I also noticed here how they say we focused on it first. I'm definitely not holding my breath. I don't think they're gonna add it for the other locos at any point. I think they're just kind of saying that to sugarcoat and soften the blow. Kind of like how you could write LOL after you write something passive aggressive in a text. We are looking at implementation for these locos as a post-release improvement, but it's also really key that we are growing this mode with your continued feedback. So please let us know what you think when you get to try it from September. Okay, so at least they're looking into it. Again, I'm still not gonna hold my breath because they're probably gonna be so focused on fixing any possible bugs that are introduced, which at this point we know will happen. So I am having my doubts, but I would love to see it again on every possible passenger service. I do think if they were going to choose between regional and express or local commuter, they definitely made the right decision. It makes more sense on those more frequently stopping services. So now moving on to Live Map 2.0. One of the biggest areas we've heard your feedback on is the usability of the live map, which in Train Sim World 5 is seeing a new facelift, improving the experience and providing more information for you to review while in a game session. I am so excited for this. So you can just hover over a service, you can see what the service name is, if it's a revenue service or a non-revenue service, you can see its status, if it's stopped or moving, its current speed, and its target speed, which I guess is what it's increasing to, or what the speed limit is. These are such major improvements. Like, you would think that something like this is actually small, but I've been wanting this sort of thing for such a long time. What I'm really hoping though is that we can zoom out on this map and actually see little pins of where these services are without having to zoom in to see where they are. Sometimes I like to just go out, zoom all the way out and see how many trains are on the current map, how many AI services are out and about, which way they're moving without having to zoom in and find them. So I'm really hoping that this is going to be a part of it. And if not, Dovetail, if you're watching this video, please answer my prayers. I've been needing that for such a long time. The new legend markers and a legend chart will help identify everything happening around you and across the route you are playing. From physical locations such as platforms, stations, cities, towns, to locations of tutorials and spawn points, which can be accessed via fast travel. New tooltips will also give you specific information based on what you are selecting, such as a signal to give you information on route speed and current status, or an AI service that details the current speed and service ID. So the legend chart is actually huge. You can see all the signal colors, of course, red, green, yellow. There's crossing indicators, even speed limit indicators. We have pumps, city stations, platforms, tutorials, and even switch levers are noted here. Spawn points, different types of track and track names, trains, objectives, location, and spawn. So I'm hoping that little yellow marker with train is basically your way of seeing if there is a train on any given section of track when you zoom all the way out. I'm hoping that is what answers my big question, but I guess we'll have to see and wait until this is previewed. So up next, we're going to be talking about route hopping. Immersion is a massive part of Train Sim World, and the new route hopping feature is a great way to extend your adventures in a single session and minimize the need to move between UI menus as much as possible. Players will be able to interact with a point on foot across specific stations and jump between like-for-like locations to find another installed route that share a similar link and continue their experience in-game exploring a different timetable or taking a journey across a new route. So we already have some examples of how this is going to happen, and we talked about them in my last video for the road map part 1, and this is going to include San Bernardino, switching between Cajon Pass, and of course the San Bernardino Metrolink line. You're going to be able to switch between those two routes at San Bernardino, and if you're in LA, you're going to be able to switch between San Bernardino route and the Antelope Valley line. And this is also going to apply, or at least I hope it is. I don't remember if this was directly confirmed, but between Boston Sprinter and the MBTA commuter line, the new one that's coming eventually, I'm crossing my fingers that we will be able to use this route hopping feature between those two routes, of course at Boston South Station. And another example provided here in the article, London Commuter and East Coastway both share a station at Brighton, so you'll be able to start a service on one of these routes, and once you've reached Brighton, quickly switch over and continue across the new route whilst maintaining the same time of day, month of year, and current weather conditions. That's literally perfect. If you finish a service, but then either the service continues or you want to start another service that begins where you are at that station, but it just happens to deviate another way and go on a different route, you just hop in and load, and it keeps all of your settings, so you don't have to go to the main menu, reset everything, try to get the weather back to what you had it set to before. Same with the time of day, the month of year, all of that stuff. This will keep all of that there. Chain routes together and explore the world in Train Sim World without being constrained to the main menu to find your next adventure. So up next, we're going to be covering and talking about fast travel, which is another key feature coming with Train Sim World 5. Similar to route hopping, fast travel empowers you to explore the world happening around you, in this case giving you the ability to move around the current route you're playing using the new Live Map 2.0. So it's very similar to route hopping, but it's not taking you to a new route to load into that, but just taking you to a different part of the route that you're currently on. While on foot, you will be able to access the live map and navigate to various jump points instantly. Whether you've spotted some action on the timetable at another part of the map, or you've missed your train at the current platform, using fast travel will allow you to catch back up. You won't be able to teleport just anywhere along the map. There are specific locations markers which come up for major yards, sidings, and stations, and other present locations, and can be found in the live map. This feature will function across compatible content where existing spawn points are already included, so get ready to jump into Train Sim World 5 and get to the action as you find it. Combine this with the new functions in photo mode, which we'll talk about shortly, and you'll truly be free to play however you want. I really do like the additions in photo mode. We're gonna get to that next, but I just do want to say really quickly, this could have easily just been an update for the game we currently have. This does not need to be pushed to a whole new game. Like, it really is ridiculous, and the more that they do this every year, introducing a new Train Sim World 2, 3, then 4, then 5, and you know what's gonna happen. We're gonna get 6, and then we're gonna get 7, and then 8, and then 9, and then 10, and then we're just gonna keep going, just like how iPhones and Androids continue going, seemingly barely making any changes to the product itself. It's just truly all so unnecessary. So coming with Train Sim World 5 is a new update for photo mode, which will allow you to take even more breathtaking screenshots with new quality of life additions and filters to help you snap the perfect shot any time of day under any circumstances. First up, get your magical abilities ready with these improvements. You'll be able to control the time of day, month of year, and alter the weather instantly, all within photo mode, which will allow you to make your shots look just the way you want and leaving your current service completely untouched by the changes. So you can change the weather, time of day, and all this stuff in your pictures, but the second you're done and you exit out, guess what? Your game goes right back to normal, the way that it was previously. These are great improvements for Train Sim World. Do I think we needed a whole new version for something like this to be included? Absolutely not. If you've ever hit pause too early while getting ready to capture the perfect screenshot, we've added an option just for you. With the updated photo mode, you'll be able to advance the train forward for a few frames on the track to help you perfectly line up the screenshot just how you planned. That is pretty cool. So there's a whole new little section that adds all of these things in about that, and it's called Advanced Time. While we're speaking of aligning the best shot, the photo mode camera is now also unlocked from its set orbit around the train, so you can enter and explore with a no-clip style approach around the trains and even into the interiors to push your screenshot capabilities to the limit. Oh, I actually just cannot wait to see what kind of screenshots come from this update, having all of this freedom now. In addition, we've added new filter options, including a sepia filter that will appear to age your photos so they seem older, a new motion blur setting, as well as a graininess slider, which will allow you to add some roughness to the screenshots you take, so like film noise? Oh, that's so cool. And together, all of these tools will provide creative ways to have endless fun and show off your trains and routes in Train Sim World 5. Honestly, having the sepia filter is perfect because there are so many routes in the game that are set in an older time period, so you can totally capture that old vintage look with this new setting on these older routes. So up next, we're getting more on the track shadow rendering draw distance. They kind of teased it a little bit in the first part of the roadmap, but now we have a whole section dedicated to it. And of course, answering the big question, what routes are going to be included for this enhancement? A surprise hiding in the shadow. Okay, I'll stop with the puns, but as teased in our roadmap yesterday, we've been able to improve the rendering draw distance system for shadows on the track, so you will no longer see a harsh cut of shading following ahead of the train as you drive. This is such a small thing that makes such a large improvement. I'm not gonna get into this again because I feel like I melted over it previously a couple of times, but this is going to change everything, at least for me. We know this has been a key request from the community to improve, and our teams have managed to add this without impacting your performance across our routes. This will be a feature for all Train Sim World 5 content as standard, and we've also implemented across a range of Train Sim World compatible routes, which include Salzburg, Rosenheim, Nürburgring, Dresden, S-Bahn, Vorarlberg, Kassel, Würzburg, Maintalbahn, Link Rheinstreck, Bremen Oldenburg, Niddertalbahn, Simmertingbahn, Long Island Railroad Commuter, Antelope Valley Line, Cajon Pass, Boston Sprinter, East Coast Main Line, London Overground, Suffragette Line, Southeastern High Speed, Glossip Line, and LGV, the France route. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and say, really? You include Boston Sprinter but not New York to Trenton? Really? Come on now. New York to Trenton is more recent than Boston Sprinter. That was a Train Sim World 2 route that was upgraded to Train Sim World 3 standards, and New York Trenton was a Train Sim World 3 route. That's very disappointing. Come on now. I mean, I am gonna be upset on that because New York Trenton is my favorite route in the game. I'm a Northeast Corridor junkie, if you haven't already figured that out. I'm happy to see Boston Sprinter here, which I can see why they did it, because with the new MBTA line coming, it's gonna link up with Boston. So they kind of go hand in hand together, but really not include New York Trenton? Ugh. We know this is another big improvement to the immersion that you've been asking for, and our teams will look at opportunities to bring this to more of our compatible collection in the future. Yes, please, New York Trenton, don't make me say it again. All right, moving on to digital display screens. As we introduce more and more trains with interactive display screens into Train Sim World, we've wanted to implement a feature that will aim to improve the accessibility of using and viewing these screens to support a whole range of people who engage with our titles. You'll be able to zoom a digital screen to fit your entire window without any motion shaking, and you will be able to navigate this much more easily with D-pad controls to move around the screen without the need for a joystick or finer inputs. Again, another small thing that makes such a huge difference. This will be a standard feature across all content in Train Sim World and will function across all of our back catalog of compatible content. We always take opportunities to help improve our accessibility so that we can welcome everyone into our simulators. Please feel free to provide our teams with any feedback for this new development via the forums. So this is coming, I think, to everything based off what they said, and honestly, as it should. This is an accessibility feature, so they probably knew they couldn't just pick and choose certain logos to implement this on. It was either everything or none at all. They definitely made the right decision. All right, so up next, we're gonna be talking about tutorials, guides, and training center. Oh, and did you notice the new style? One of the first things you'll see when opening Train Sim World 5 is an updated UI across all our menus. This year, we've also taken the opportunity to add new functions within our UI that support text, images, and videos. I also want to see the new UI in-game. Is there a new UI in-game? Because I kind of want that to be different. I feel like for the most part, that's been the same since Train Sim World 2, and I was hoping it would have changed with 3, it didn't. Really hoping it would change with 4, it didn't. So let's see if we get some new gameplay UI with 5. So for train operations, within the menus, you will find a new train operations section, which will support brand new tutorial guides you can find to help learn, directly available from the main menu or the pause menu mid-session for easy, instant access. So if you're in a train, if you're in a service and you're having problems figuring things out, you can actually refer to train operations support while you're in a stuck service to figure out how to get through it. And this is such a smart thing to have, especially for new players. They write, we've taken feedback from new players coming into Train Sim World and use this to help improve the tutorial flow and adjust our difficulty levels in our training modules to provide a better experience when starting out. So BR 146.2 and Dostos and Training Center. Additionally, we've added the BR 146.2 and Dostos to the Training Center to help all players when learning German locomotives, and everyone who joins us with the free starter pack will be able to enjoy these too. So that's pretty cool. So additional changes that we have here are Xbox audio improvements. With the release of Train Sim World 5, all Xbox consoles will now support improved audio compression to increase the quality of sound effects across all content to address sound artifacting, which were negatively impacting players on the platform. We appreciate the community's patience on this, and we hope you're able to enjoy the improved experience coming in September. I'm surprised they didn't already have that. Audio is such a big thing for me. I am a major audiophile, so the sounds and the quality are like one of the few things that I feel like I bitch about the most. How have achievements changed in Train Sim World 5? Okay, good question. We also wanted to touch briefly on achievements. We have heard player feedback and understand that repeating the same achievements you unlocked in the previous game is not fun. For this reason, Train Sim World 5 will start with a clean slate, introducing a brand new set of achievements that are only applicable to new content. So I guess they're just getting rid of the way to earn achievements you would have earned in previous games altogether, because I guess they can't carry our achievement progress over because each year we keep getting a new freaking game. Okay, whatever. Honestly, I don't care too much about it. Achievements are just achievements. That's just my opinion though. I'm not trying to minimize that for those of you that actually do care. So new layer selector functionality, bringing more QOL to timetable mode directly from community suggestions. You can now find a layers button where you can select and deselect options based on applicable compatible content that works with the route. You'll see both add-ons you have installed and add-ons that aren't currently owned, so you can get a better view of what extra content is available. This is something I've been wanting for a while, and I actually meant to make a whole video about this. I want to see, when I have a route, what layers do I need to buy to keep adding to the timetable to make it more busy, to make it more lively. Like, I want to see every possible layer, because sometimes I find myself going on the Train Sim wiki page trying to find how many layers are with this specific route, and then I go on the forums and find out, oh wait, it's wrong, it was actually not correct. But to have that in the game and to see all the official layers for the route, whether I own them or not, and the ability to even toggle them on and off, is a game changer. This should give you more control on what layers you want to see appearing on routes, which can be useful to disable any non-prototypical layers that you may not want to appear, or for users on 8th generation consoles to help support performance by limiting the layers. So you're going to have an option to disable them if you want to increase your performance. So the option is there for you to choose. Thank you. Japanese localization is coming soon. Later in the year, we'll be adding to our list status of supported languages with Japanese. And this is going to be big because obviously the Tadami line is coming, and with Japanese localization coming later in the year, maybe that's sort of a hint that the Tadami line could also be coming later in the year. Another thing to think about. All right, so on to third-party partners. Athena Simulations, welcoming a new partner to the Train Sim World family. We are delighted to welcome a new developer to the TSW family as Athena Simulations unveil their first content for Train Sim World 5. The name may be new, but the team is composed of developers with a rich pedigree of TSW content. We've been working on a new gameplay pack, East Coast Mainline Diesel Rail Tours, bringing exciting new content both for the East Coast Mainline route and TSW 5 as a whole. You know, this is one of my favorite routes in the game, and we're getting even more layers with it. I appreciate the layers that we do have, but I feel like most of the time, a lot of the activity is at the stations and not actually along the tracks themselves. So I hope that we're getting some more layers that come in to make the line itself more busy and introduce more traffic. Highlights of this pack include a brand new Class 47 locomotive, modeling what is often regarded as the most iconic member of the class, 47484, Isambard Kingdom Brunel. The locomotive featured in its special edition livery was often used on numerous rail tours and hauled the royal train from its base at Old Oak Common Shed. Utilizing the latest in modeling techniques in TSW5, the locomotive features custom 3D nameplates and 3D number plates, plus a highly detailed model. The team have even gone so far to recreate the variations in each cab end after the real locomotive was rebuilt after accident damage. The pack also brings a range of Mark I coaches in BR blue and gray livery, as much requested by the community. We're also thrilled to announce the inclusion of 10 custom scenarios for East Coast Mainline with new features such as complex depot movements, the opportunity to run around your train, and coupling double-headed formations for very special rail tours between Doncaster and Peterborough. So yes, adding more for the whole route. This is very exciting. Man, it just makes me really wish that we would just have US content revisited with more layers and packs and stuff added over time, but it's like, it seems as though once a US route comes out, it's pretty much just abandoned. That's just how it at least feels to me. Whereas UK stuff is constantly getting revisited, constantly getting additions, constantly getting new layers, new logos, and then you check out the list and it's so long, and then US stuff, I feel like, oh, we might just have like 2 different types of services on one route. Yes, there are exceptions where there are more, but it's definitely not equal. There was a comment in one of my last videos pointing out the ratio between US content and UK content as far as how much is released, you know, the layers and stuff, and it was pretty alarming. We just don't get as much stuff in the US, and it's so disappointing. I really hope that Dovetail take on some new US partners in the future so that we can get more content in the game for our player base. So up next is Rivet Games. Update on Fife Circle Leven branch. Rivet Games are very busy adding the recently opened Leven branch to our Fife Circle route and are expecting to release this in the early autumn. So this is coming this year, guys. They're not quite ready to start sharing screenshots, but thought that some readers may be interested in some of the research they've been gathering. Ordinarily, we use a wide range of reference material for making routes, including cab ride videos, track and signaling diagrams, along with photographs gathered on research trips. Due to the newness of the branch line, one of our normal references, Google Earth images, are not available. The images in Google are a few years old when the railway was still disused, and so we had to improvise. Fortunately, we were able to arrange a flight in a light aircraft and survey the new route from 1,200 feet. A couple of the reference images are shown below. Our flight track is shown on the map in blue. You're telling me they went on a flight so that they could survey and get information on this route? Now, come on, tell me that isn't cool. That's actually really neat. We do have some pictures here that they share of this. So up next, we're going to Skyhook Games. ScotRail Class 158 Levenmouth Rail Link livery. The teams at Skyhook Games are also working hard on further improvements to the ScotRail Class 158, and this month we've been able to grab a few in-development screenshots for a new custom livery they're creating. the 11-mouth rail link livery. This will also come with improvements to the 5-circle line route with new gameplay and a new 5-circle timetable to take full advantage of the upcoming 11-branch expansion. We look forward to sharing more with you soon on the development for both 5-circle and the Class 158. And there is more cargo on the way. As final mention, Skyhook wanted to confirm that they are currently developing new cargo line volumes to continue the series. So we have Cargo Line Volume 3 Intermodal, the new FCA twin spine wagon with new containers, and Cargo Line Volume 4 Military, new KWA well wagon with custom cargo. You see what I mean? Like with US content, we're still rocking with such old freight stock, yet like UK and German stuff, like they're constantly getting new stuff. They're constantly getting updates. They're getting new sounds, new physics, new this, new that. But it's like the best freight that we have in train sim world for US, we're still like dating back to Cajon Pass and like even San Patch grade. Like we really haven't, at least in my opinion, had a freight route that excellent in a long time. We really got to get up to speed. We do have an update from Alan Thompson Simulation. We've reached out to Alan Thompson, who are excited to tease more details for their first route in TSW, which is in the final stages of development. For those who are not aware of us, Alan Thompson Simulation, or ATS for short, is made up primarily of railway and sim enthusiasts and was set up in 2018 to bring together some of the finest individual train sim talents and to create a new community hub for fans alike. Over the past 2 years, some of this core team, amongst a host of new members consisting of train drivers, guards, engineers, and various others, have in our spare time learnt and trained to become game developers using the Unreal Engine editor. Since the turn of the year, ATS has worked extensively to develop the first train sim world route. Our 3D artists have now finished sculpting all of the fantastic artwork that this route has to offer. From the ultra slick and modern to the classical Victorian architecture, the various stations, bridges, and signal boxes that have been carefully crafted for this route offer an incredible amount of detail to ensure the most authenticity. Alongside this, our environment artists are putting the finishing touches into this urban metropolis, capturing every detail with a host of new assets to ensure the most in-depth and accurate route detail. Whilst ATS can't unveil the route at this moment in time, you will see much more to come in the coming weeks as we welcome TSW 5. Until then, here's a sneak peek at early testing. Can you guess where it is? You know, I have no clue. You guys will have to help me on this one. Where do you think it is? So by the time this video goes up, the roadmap stream would have already happened. It's currently 12 p.m. Eastern time US as I'm filming this. There's still 2 more hours until the stream, but I know it's gonna take me at least an hour and a half to like 2 or 2.5 hours to cut this down, edit it, add all the graphics. So this will be going up later tonight. The roadmap stream should have already happened, and by then I'll likely have some thoughts that I'll likely be sharing in a video coming hopefully tomorrow. But that's gonna be it from me. Thank you guys so much for clicking and watching. Share all of your thoughts below on all of the new information here. If you learned something new or found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, and also be sure to subscribe and ring the bell. I'll see you all next time. Take care and happy rail simming.